You know, first I would like to just welcome everyone today that's here right now, and also that is going to be tuning in later to our class, How to Become Unapologetically Yourself and Live from Your Fuck Yes. And, you know, we have Jess Maitri and I, you know, Sandra here today to help steward this journey and process with you, which is a topic that we're both really passionate about, and also hardcore working on ourselves pretty consistently, you know, because it's a process, you know, being our true selves, living from our deepest, you know, fuck yes is a process and takes a lot of courage to do so, you know, at the same time. Today we're going to be going into some, you know, diving into some juicy material, and we're going to be doing some exploratory experiential exercises to kind of support you and anchoring into your deeper wisdom and higher truth. And I would recommend grabbing a pen, whether you're watching, you know, later, or you're here with us now, grabbing a pen to write down or jot down any notes that you might have. And the way that this is going to flow is Jess and I kind of like split off different topics. So we're going to co-teach this event right now together and co-create. And since it's a little bit smaller today, we're also going to have time to kind of just go in a little bit deeper to anything that you might have or want to explore here today, Jones, as well. Okay. Yeah, which is cool. I like the intimacy of that. Yeah. So I'd like to just start out with a little bit of a somatic grounding meditation to invite us to be a bit more present in the space together. Okay. And really allowing yourself to find whatever posture and position feels most comfortable for you in this moment, and will actually support you in coming into a deeper well of presence with yourself and your experience. And if closing your eyes actually feels natural and comfortable for you right now, I want to invite you to do that. And I just want you to notice what it's like to begin to connect with your inner world and the in and outflow of your breath here. Noticing what it's like to not try to fix or change any aspect or part of your experience in this moment, but actually create an invitation for all that's here right now to be fully here. Allowing yourself to notice what arises or what might even shift in your experience with this deeper well of permission. How fully can you welcome yourself to be here right now? How fully can you welcome all aspects of yourself and your experience to be here right now? An acknowledgement and honoring of all that you are. And noticing if there's something that actually feels nourishing about permission and welcoming, of acceptance without trying to fix or change or shift anything in your experience. Noticing any areas and spaces where you might be experiencing sensation or thoughts or feelings that might be in the periphery or forefront of your consciousness. Any energies that you might be aware of, or subtle sensations or insights. All is welcome. And allow yourself to connect to your intention for what you would most like to receive right now. And it doesn't even have to be from this masterclass, but what is your deepest desire and wish, your deepest intention for yourself in this moment. Allowing yourself to connect with what feels most present and true for you. And really receive that desire and that intention, that higher wish fully. And it's 11:11. I love when that happens. So make a wish on 11:11. Allowing your wish to seed into the universe and the expanse of infinite consciousness, and allowing yourself in your own space and time to begin making your way back to intimacy with this present here and now moment. And when it feels good for you, allowing yourself to slowly open your eyes. And just noticing how you're feeling in this moment. And if there's any insights that want to be shared right now, I invite that as well.
It's just a timely subject that I've been working on. And it's when I scrolled across this that Jessica sent, and I'm like, wow, this is exactly what my intention for this year was. So perfect. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yay. Awesome. Well, I first, I guess, want to just express gratitude. This is something that I've been committing to working on this year too. And almost like a lifelong project. It's like, how authentic can I allow myself to be? How much permission can I give myself in any given moment to be fully myself and show up in truth and integrity and presence and in alignment with what I am here to do on the deepest levels, and how I would like to, how would I like to create and weave magic and leave impact on the planet, through my presence and through embodying this unapologetic nature. What is my unapologetic nature, and what does unapologetic even mean to me, at the same time? And this is a question that I've been holding, and I think that Jess and I were talking about this earlier, this concept of what is unapologetic. It's how do we stay in alignment with what's true for us in this kind of fierce devotion to what's true for us, and simultaneously hold awareness and receptivity around the impact that we might have on those around us, without letting the fear of that impact stop us in our tracks or keep us from really showing up in the way or that we desire, and really speaking our truth and embodying our truth in every given moment. And it's definitely a balance, right? And we're human and we're fallible, and sometimes we're going to fuck up, and sometimes we're going to hurt each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens, when we're all kind of navigating and learning how to be with one another, especially in these deeper spaces of intimacy and permission, and where there's a deeper invitation to be messy. And I think that all of us, and I'll speak for myself, I have this desire to be radically accepted and have even my messiest, imperfect parts be radically accepted at the same time. And I feel like that's also an intrinsic part of being unapologetic. And it's not worrying about the impact that we're having on others, so much as leaning into what feels true for us, and allowing ourselves to deeply, receive the impact that we have while simultaneously moving forward. So how do we do this?
Right.
how do we do this at the same time? Which is kind of the big question, something that I marinate on a lot, and something that I talk about a lot with my own clients, and that has also been a huge part of my own personal process and practice, are energetic boundaries. And I don't necessarily like the word boundary anymore, because it delineates like, oh, like this, barrier or something. And when we're working so hard to maintain like a barrier or protection, that can often be exhausting, right? And simultaneously, it's almost like if we're working so hard to defend and protect ourselves all the time, we're almost inviting the energy that we don't want. So I've been going through this transition from this awareness around energetic boundaries to energetic agreements. Like, what are the specific agreements that I need to make with myself that support me in staying contained, also, but contained and grounded and anchored in connection with my higher truth. So I'm actually doing myself a service by not abandoning myself or my truth in any given moment, because it allows me to stay in deeper self-connection and in reverence and devotion to what is in my highest form of alignment in any moment. And then through that gives me permission to fully show up and weave magic in the world and connect with people in really deep, profound, and meaningful ways, because I'm so anchored into that sense of unapologetic truth. So, something that I've worked with is getting over the, shame or selfishness, that I feel when taking care of myself or my own needs, or being worried about the way in which I am taking care of myself and how that might impact or hurt other people at the same time. And we're going to be going into that a little bit later. I'll stop now and see if there are any questions or comments right now. If there's anything to add, too, Jess, if you want to add anything to that.
I'm actually just curious. I love that we just have you here today, and I'm curious how that's landing for you in your life and what boundaries have looked like for you.
Are you talking to me? Or
no, sorry. I know your last name is Jones. What's your first name again?
Oh, Janine.
Janine. Yeah. It's Janine, not Jones. Okay.
Oh, Jonesy Droob is just my handle on Facebook, okay. So that's what popped up, and I'm like, I couldn't figure out how to fix it. Sorry.
Janine. Yeah.
Janine.
That works for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
How have boundaries or how have you navigated like energetic boundaries, and any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's very interesting, as I'm quite a bit older than you gals, and in my growing up, and I think this has come through in a lot of different other places too, and in Eastern Idaho, it's like we weren't allowed, girls were not allowed to be our authentic selves.
Yeah.
We're, you had to, you were quiet, you were seen, not heard. And in the last 10 years, I've come through this thing. It's like, I need to be what you call selfish, but I don't call it selfish in taking care of yourself, especially if you're a mom or a caregiver. You have to take care of yourself in order to take care of other people. And I'm happy to hear that women are feeling more, I don't know the right word, empowered to take care of themselves so they can take care of other people. And the boundary thing has become very interesting in my own life, as I've got a ton of sisters. And so, that whole matriarchal crazy stuff. And I'm right smack dab in the middle. I needed boundaries in order to become my authentic self. But I understand that it's more of a grounding and protecting myself from all those energies coming in, not necessarily, I don't know, that's where I'm working right now, same as you. You need the boundaries in order to not have too much, for me, bombarding me all the time, and now how to also accept everybody else's authentic selves. It's been very interesting last couple of years. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. So this is all clicking right in there.
Awesome. so appreciate you sharing and your willingness to be transparent and vulnerable with where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
at in your process, and like, yeah, kindred spirits.
Yay! I've been running into more and more. I love it.
I know, right? It's
Yeah.
soul recognition, soul signatures find each other, magnetize each other to each other. So
Exactly.
beautiful.
And I love and appreciate you, the younger generation, you gals have so much more power and you connected to it sooner. A lot of women my age were just now connecting into it after our 50s. So I say, yay, congratulations.
Yeah. You should see the generation after us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I watch a friend's
Yeah.
8-year-old and she blows me away.
Oh, yeah, they're coming out with it.
Oh, yeah, I love her. It's awesome. I just got goosebumps all over.
Yeah, they're going to teach us a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, they are, and already have started, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, and I think this ties in. It's just in terms of consciousness is radically shifting on the planet, and there are more people now collectively waking up than they ever have before, and there are more people that are waking up to the fact that they are energetically sensitive and are multidimensional. It's like this new concept, and as that happens, I think there's increased awareness and sensitivity on the planet in terms of planetary awareness and the way that affects energetic currents. And I think it's part of the reason why we are having so many intense energetic surges all of the time now too, right? So not only in terms of like how do we show up in this unapologetic way in our own lives, but when we're energetically sensitive and empathic and there's a enormous collective awakening happening, how do we stay anchored and grounded and connected to our innermost core of the self and our inner home? And this has been a lifelong practice for me, too. It's, the energetic boundaries, which are shifting a little bit in definition for me, but I still feel like a really powerful teaching. Like, what do I need to do to stay anchored and grounded in connection to my highest truth so I can show up in service and in presence and love in the way that I most desire? And when we're energetically sensitive, we're going to be vacuuming in energy and taking in so much input and energy from our exterior environment. And that's, there's a way in which we can become drained and lose energy because of that and feel like I talk to so many highly sensitive, empathic, creative, multidimensional individuals that feel drained so much of the time, that are also in service-based work or are in some sort of creative, work that is really drain or taking care of kids all the time. It's like, how do we maintain, our own sense of, inner balance within our ecosystem so that we can fully show up? And there are a few kind of telltale signs that I've at least noticed in my own life and work with clients for many years around this. When we have energetic boundaries that become weakened, so when we have energetic boundaries that become weakened, I think I've noticed that, like, I at least have a tendency to be in avoidance of how I feel. It's almost like I'm feeling too much and I don't want to tune in on a deeper level. And that's usually because I have a boundary, energetic boundary issue or a leakage happening. And when we're in that space and feeling drained, we're also usually negating our body's intrinsic inner wisdom and are not usually in a space to orient around how to best physically take care of ourselves. And we're also, as a result of that, in a space of abandoning our needs and not usually inconsistent honoring and expression of our truth, because when we're in that space of overwhelm or disconnection, we can't even really feel our truth, right?
Right.
And then, as a result of that, we can't really find that sense of clear yes or no. So we end up saying yes to things that we don't really want to be doing. And we end up not saying no enough to the things that like aren't in alignment, or not really knowing how or where to use our no. So that becomes really kind of confusing, for us when we're in that space of disconnection where we're feeling weakened as a result of not asserting our deeper truth. And through that, we are then carrying like a boatload of guilt or shame or fear or unworthiness. Like we start feeling bad because we're shitting on ourselves, using that term. I'm like shitting on myself all the time. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be showing up in this way. And That's usually when we have a proliferation of feelings like guilt, shame, fear, and unworthiness that arise that actually make it harder to shift, because when we're in a shame spiral or cycle, it's actually easier and more seductive to stay where we're at and actually lean in, right, towards our higher truth, or making the shift that would create the alignment to be in connection with our higher truth. And when emotions like these aren't acknowledged or expressed and ultimately let go of, we become really easily entrapped within dynamics and relationships that don't serve our highest expression and really don't feel good. And it's like that's when we get relational messiness and we start fighting with other people, or we get resentment and it feels like, ugh, like why am I even in this right now? And we start minimizing ourselves, criticizing ourselves, playing small and hiding, and then don't acknowledge what isn't working and take the necessary actions to align with that higher vision for ourselves, because we're in a space of low energy. And when we are in a space of low energy or no energy, we don't actually have the internal resources to make those internal shifts. So if you feel or see any of those things happening, it's usually an indication that you're having a energetic boundary leakage. And I'm sure that even in this moment, you're connecting with the kind of specific places that you notice yourself maybe withholding or not speaking the truth all the way, or expressing your boundaries. I mean, I'm talking about it and I'm in touch with that. Like there are a few things popping up in my, I'm like, oh wow, I'm still haven't totally articulated that in the way that I need to. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Oh, that kind of feels messy and sticky, you know? So even as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like this continuous lesson and like layers, right? So that being said, there's like a exercise that I like to use that kind of supports us in developing a sense of our own containment and our own energetic boundary. And it's somatic in orientation, but it kind of builds around the exercise that we did earlier in terms of somatic grounding. So I'd love to share it with you, and I'll keep it short so that we can get Miss Jess on here with all your amazing juicy
I think you should just keep teaching the class.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might just be repeating a lot.
I mean, do you have anything that you want to add?
I mean, I think the points are starting to blend together, which I love, you know, like, let's do your exercise and then we'll just continue with, let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, beautiful blending of things. And I just want to invite you to feel what it's like to start moving inward in connection with your own energy right now, because you just received some downloads. There's probably percolation happening in your system and integration, things arising. So I just want you in this moment to feel what it's like to actually come back to you and noticing what it's like to begin to connect with your own sense of embodiment in your body right now in this moment. Allowing your eyes to flutter shut if that feels good. And noticing what it's like to begin to move with the flow of your in and out breath without trying to do anything to fix or change or alter your experience in any way, but creating deep and radical permission to welcome all that's here. And maybe a deeper acceptance and compassion for all the parts that work so hard to stay in alignment and to do their best. Giving yourself a moment to acknowledge how hard you have worked and how good a job you are doing. And as you bring your awareness back into flow with your in and out breath, allowing yourself to begin to feel a gentle softening happening in the crown of your head. Feeling a gentle warmth pulsing there. And noticing a golden white light beginning to stream down from the heavens, the stars above, the source above. This warming, purifying, clearing light. With each inhale and exhale that you take in, allowing yourself to really draw that light through the crown of your head, deeper into your being. As if your body and being were drinking this nourishment in. Allowing that energy, that golden, white, beautiful light to move and to be magnetized anywhere it is most needed. And allowing that light to be drawn through the central channel of your body, and through every energy center from the crown of your head, through your third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus and belly. Sacral center and lower belly and root. Allowing that energy just to flow right out through your feet, cleansing and clearing away and revoking and dissolving anything that is not in your highest service, allowing that to be magnetized into the core of the earth. Feeling roots growing from the energetic epicenter of your being and stretching deep, far and wide into the earth. And anchoring and locking into the core of the earth. Really allowing yourself to feel this quality of rooted expanse, rooted expansiveness. To be grounded and anchored, yet light and expansive at the same time. How vast can you allow your presence and your energy to be in this moment? And allowing your awareness to begin to travel to your solar plexus, that place a few inches above your belly button. A couple inches below your sternum. Feeling the epicenter of your own inner core of power and feeling a gentle flame and light beginning to bloom in the core of your upper center. And noticing that with each inhale and exhale that you take in, the flame within your inner core begins to grow wider and wider, expanding in warmth and light, purging and clearing all that is not serving you in its expansion. And with each breath that you take in, it strengthens in light and power and heat until it's completely surrounding the outer edge and periphery of your skin and your field, fully surrounded in this glowing orb and field of light. Affirming that all that is not in your highest service is now revoked, resolved, and dissolved into the light of the divine and purged from all levels and being. of your being and consciousness completely, removing all things that are not in your highest expression, recalling any energy or power that you may have given away, and allowing it to be purified and whole by the light of the divine and reintegrated into your field. And then placing any energy that you may have taken on, holding it up to the divine to be directed exactly where it needs to go, to be integrated, purified, and whole by the light of the divine to where it originated from. And feeling what it's like to really feel anchored in the ground of your own light and awareness and energy, your own unapologetic nature. The container so that you may stay anchored in connection with your highest truth, divinity, and light. And really allowing yourself to memorize what this feels like and drink it in. Thanking yourself for showing up so fully and deeply with yourself. And in your own space and time at the pace that feels exactly in most alignment for you, allowing yourself to come back into intimacy with this present here and now moment. And then just noticing how you feel. And if there's anything here that wants to be expressed or shared, or if you just want to marinate.
I'm just going to marinate.
Nice.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Love getting to play.
Yeah.
So fun.
Is it anything more to add for you?
No, do you want to kind of move into our next part?
Yeah, I think what I'll do, what feels good in this moment is to just kind of add to a little bit of what you have said already. So if you're watching right now, or Janine, if you've got a piece of paper and pencil, you can draw a square. And the reason I want you to do this is I want you to see a visual of this. And so if you draw a square, and on each corner, write the following. It doesn't matter which corners. On one corner, write self-esteem, self-worth on another corner. Another corner, self-trust. And another corner, self-love. And so this is kind of the visual that I see as the foundation for living unapologetically and for living out from our fuck yes. And I like having visuals because symbols are a way that we can connect to our subconscious. So our subconscious mind communicates in symbols, not necessarily language. And so I can relate to this image of a square as a foundation for, if any one of these is not, I guess I would say if any one of these has a leak, kind of like what Sandra was talking about earlier, then it's almost like you have to have all four in order to open the throat, really, like to be able to speak truth. And I think if you're listening, what I would suggest doing after this is to go through every one of these, the 4, and get clear for you what each one means for you. So like, what does self-esteem actually translate for you? How does that look in your life? Because there's no right or wrong to this, And then what does self-worth mean? I think for me, that means my value, like my inner value. How do I hold my own value in the world? And then the self-trust, what does self-trust mean? Like, and how do I show up for myself, and how can I continue to build trust with myself?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, self-love, what does that mean? So again, I can't stress enough that there's really no right or wrong answer to what these mean to you. It's just a matter of you getting really clear of what they mean for you individually. Okay. Because once you're clear, then you know what your foundation starts to feel like, and you'll start to know if which one is kind of out of alignment.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's an exercise I would encourage anybody to maybe do after this, kind of on your own time, and getting clear with that as your foundation. And also kind of what Sandy was saying earlier is that shame and doubt and fear, all of those, what we would consider negative emotions, those actually are stored primarily in the lower 2 chakras. So the root chakra, which is at the very base, of the spine, and then the sacral chakra. And even, since we kind of talked about women earlier, I just would love to continue on that topic, Janine, of like, as women, we have a very powerful creative center.
Right.
And that's where we birth thing, this is where all creation happens. And so in the body, that center, those 2 lower centers are directly connected to our throat chakra. So if we have blocked shame, if we're holding shame and blame and guilt and all that fear in the lower chakras of the body, that's oftentimes when we can't speak what's true for us.
Okay.
So there's another exercise. Do you know who Joe Dispenza is, Janine?
No.
Okay, definitely write that down. Joe Dispenza.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Love him.
Me too. He's amazing. But so this breath technique that I'm going to teach you comes from him. Yeah, and we won't drop in really deep or anything, but this is this is super powerful. For about 2 months last summer, I did this breath work every single morning to clear the energy of the lower chakras and to bring them up into the body and release it. And it changed my life. It was amazing. And that's how I activated my voice, was by doing this breath work. So I forgot the name of it, but the visual, again, that I want you to imagine as we're doing it is a pump like this. So the bottom and the top coming together like this, and it's going to be at the base of the spine. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you know how to do a Kegel, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the this, and then the inward breath through the nose is the this. Okay. So we're going to be doing this at the same time.
Okay.
At the same time, and so I would say close your eyes for this, and then for a moment, place your finger at the top of your head, so you can kind of feel in your body like that. This is where your finger is at the top of your head. This is where I want you to actually place your attention as we're doing this breath work. You don't have to keep it there, but I want you to have a feeling so you can direct your attention here when we do the breathing. Okay.
Okay.
Release your hand, and then let's do a couple just practices really quick. So we'll do the Kegel and the inward breath at the same time. Okay. Through the nose. So let's all do 5 at our own pace. Okay. So go ahead and close your eyes, and then direct your focus to that point at the top of your head, and keep your focus there. And then do 5 of those compression pump breaths, all on your own. Through the nose, out the mouth. Okay. Open your eyes when that feels complete.
Okay.
How'd that feel? Keeping this in
That
five.
was interesting, keeping your attention at the top of your head while doing the compressions.
Okay, yeah. So the reason for that is we're doing this to get the energy moving at the bottom, and we're trying to bring it up the top of our head, up the spine,
Okay.
through the top of the head. So that's why we keep our attention there. So you could go one step further and see the energy in your mind's eye going up your spinal cord, up your spine, and out the top of your head, if you'd like. So let's just do like 10 more. And so it's in through the nose and out your mouth at the same time. So in through the nose, out the mouth. In through.
Are they short, kind of quick? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just demonstrate really quick.
Okay.
If you, and so, yeah, this is what's happening.
Okay. Okay. Okay, because I'm used to them being slower and more controlled. So I'm like, wait, which way does it go? Okay.
So
Okay.
let's do 10, and then just I want you to focus on this top of your head, the top of your head, but also how it feels in your body. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and close our eyes. Bring your attention to the top of your head, and then when you're ready, you can start your 10 breaths.
Wow.
And when you feel like that's complete for you, you can just take a deep inhale through your nose. Let it fall out your mouth. Just let that go. Check in with your body. And then just tap into this just subtle sensations. What do you notice right now?
There's so much going on in my head right now. Like all this stuff, like you said, everything's like, wow.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I feel kind of like turned on.
Yep.
Not in a necessarily like I want to do something about it, but it's like this like just turn on activation, like pleasure,
yes.
in my body right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm ready to go.
That's your Kundalini.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like so think of the snake at the base of the spine, curled up there. Well, you're like waking it up. And so
Wake that Kundalini.
That's great. So I want you to think about the lower chakras not only holding the densest parts of us, but it's also where our power lies. So it's so important for us to clear that energy, I think, daily. So that's just one exercise that you can do every day. I will say I wouldn't recommend doing it at night because it'll wake you up. It'll keep you up. First thing in the
misfortune of doing something like that a couple nights ago. It was like the microcosmic orbit breath, and I did it right before bed, and it kept me up for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, it's so powerful. Yeah. So that's one way that you can really clear that energy so that you can have access to the higher insights, and also for this speaking. Okay. And there's other voice activating exercises. I know Sandy and I both have some tools around this, but using starting small with ways in your life that you can start to be honest and true and be seen in it. So it doesn't mean that you have to go like tell your whole life story to everybody, right? But start thinking of little ways that you can push that edge a little. Like it's a little bit uncomfortable to say this out loud right now, but that's kind of how it's like chicken or the egg, right? Like that foundation that I told you about, that doesn't all necessarily have to be there for you to start speaking your truth. It's like, let's start speaking the truth as part of building the foundation, as part of building self-trust, and that will grow self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love. So they go hand in hand. Speaking the truth and then building the foundation are both part of the same process. What do you guys think? What do you think?
Love it. Yeah. Totally resonate. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Easy, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
It's like I just took a shot of something. It's like, wow.
It's so powerful. Yeah. And it's so cool to just that remembrance that it's in our body already. We don't need anything. It's already in us. We hold it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's empowering. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I know that was kind of short and sweet, but I feel like that is really, yeah, I feel like that's complete right now. What do you think, Sandra? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think that I just wanted to wrap it up by like, how do we also connect this to intuition? Because that's a topic that comes up. I like work with like a lot of highly intuitive people that feel like they don't know how to have full mastery over their intuition. And I guess what I want to say about that is that really starts with the body, and it starts with having mastery over our kind of internal resources and being in such a deep space of communion with ourselves and our sensations and our emotions and our inner world, and that actually creates the access point for us and the ground for us to access higher states of consciousness. And when we don't have that foundation, truth is an expression, like a deep expression of intuition. And when we're living in truth, we're living in continuous communion with our intuition at the same time. So it's like, if you want to be like highly psychic and multidimensional, get in your body. And that's what I always, it's like the biggest misconception. It's like we want to get out of our bodies to be intuitive, but it's really moving inward that allows us and empowers us to be the most intuitive. And some questions that I like to ask myself when I'm not feeling maybe clarity or connection to my intuition are, what body cues and signals have I been ignoring? Where have I been leaking energy and vitality by not setting solid energetic boundaries, like we talked about earlier, and what Jess addressed as well? What have I been avoiding for fear of failure or fear of being seen, fully and deeply in my truest expression? Where am I still compromising and not honoring my truth, and where am I not carrying and nourishing myself and giving myself the deepest, most devotional love and support that I really deserve? And part of realigning with our intuition is being in continuous communion and conversation with ourselves on all these levels. And I would say that I was born highly psychic and intuitive and multidimensional, and my pathway has been learning to actually become embodied, and through that, like, I was a professional psychic and medium when I was younger. That's what I did, even as a teenager. But bringing it back to the body and learning how to be somatically aware actually supported me in not only having greater clarity and being able to kind of discern what type of energy and messages were coming through, but it also supported me not taking on energy of other people and being able to kind of discern like what my inner truth and what my higher self is actually expressing, as opposed to being in the miasma of the kind of energetic collective consciousness, circus that we often find ourselves in, which social media can be an expression of. I talk to so many sensitives that are like, oh my God, I can't do social media, but like, it's a great way to like connect with other people and like share myself. And I was working with one of my mentors the other day who was like, well, treat it like your personal blog, for those of you, those of us that are here right now who are immersed in, doing this deep kind of transformative healing work and waking up to greater spaces of consciousness so that we can be of service, not just as a service-based practitioner, but just be of service. These are really potent questions and practices that can support us in staying anchored and in alignment so that we can show up as our best selves in any given moment. And it's been powerfully transformative for me. And that's why I always say, it's like, you want to get completely multidimensionally activated, learn how to be deeply and intimately with your body being, and become your own sacred consort. It's like, treat yourself the way that you wish a lover or your family or your dearest friends would treat you.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else that you want to add, Jess? Anything else, or anything else coming up right now?
I think just to tie it back to obviously the topic at hand. Whoever's listening, I would say and also Janine, I'd love to hear your answer to this, but what gets in the way of you living unapologetically? And like get really, really, really clear about what is that in my life without going into shame and blame and guilt, what is it that gets in the way?
Yeah, it's that. It's like she said, when we should on ourselves, it's like, oh my God, that's how I was raised. That's the only thing I knew for the first 50 years of my life. That's what I should be doing. This is how I should be acting. This is how I should be talking. So it's a long process to get rid of the shoulds when you've done it for 50 some odd years. So that's where I'm trying to get into my true self so that I can express myself, with truth and honesty and love, actually. Because when you live in the shoulds, a lot of times my expressions come out in anger.
Yeah.
What I'm saying isn't coming out the kind way I want it to come out. It comes out with all that extra attached.
Yeah.
So,
that's your red flag, right? Like, oh, I'm not speaking from truth, I'm speaking from should.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's like the fuck you as opposed to the fuck yes that we
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it could just be interesting. And I feel even called to do this, like, as you bring that up, Jess, just in terms of, what would it be like to have a journaling prompt, that we all do, after this, centered around, what are all the ways in which we are not showing up unapologetically in our lives right now. And even on a deeper level, what does living from our fuck yes actually look like right now, when we actually lean in and push aside all the shoulds and like the conditioning programming? Like, what would our most ideal vision for living from our fuck yes look like right now? So,
yeah, I love that. Do you have any questions or anything to add, Janine?
Not right now. Everything it's so resonating with things I've been working on since the first of the year. I love Kismet when all this comes together, the things you've been working on, and you guys are talking about the exact same things. I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Yay. Yeah, totally.
Yay. So thank you, ladies, both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been lovely to have you, and thank you so much for showing up live today. And it's also lovely to be with you all. Anyone that is joining in later and wants to reach out to Jess or I, we have a couple retreats that are coming up too. So for the shadow this body of work that we're developing, and the reason why we're doing these webinars and workshops in the first place is because of our larger body of work from shadow to sovereign, which we're going to be having a lot more exciting retreats coming up, which we can give you details about too as well. And if you watch, you can get a 10% discount code as well for any of the retreats that we do.
Perfect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, it's been lovely to be with you. I feel like I love when I get to receive my own, medicine, and like your medicine and your medicine. Like I just like learn so much from facilitating and also from like receiving at the same time. So this has been really nourishing for me, and I'm really glad that we did it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I hope that you ladies both have a nourishing rest of your day. And I know Jess has a lot of business coming up, but maybe there will be some nourishment during the weekend.
There will.
So good. And we'll keep you posted. Like if you're interested in any of the other webinars, you can follow Jess or I. I think Jess and you are connected on Facebook. Probably.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We do this every few weeks, so hopefully.
Yeah, we do this every few weeks, and we do lives and stuff like that too. So it's
perfect.
Yeah. So it's been beautiful to be with you all today, and till next time.
Yeah, good to see you, Janine.
Yes, good to see you too, Jessica. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye-bye.